Hi everyone, welcome to Grow Roots. This is Shannon, and I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all of you. I hope to get this video posted by Mother's Day, but if I don't, then I hope you have had or are having a fabulous, wonderful Mother's Day. I am so excited today because I will be going to Calloway's. And the location that I am going to is in Denton, Texas. There are multiple Callaway's locations all throughout Texas, I believe, and some other states, although I'm not quite sure which states Callaway's is in. But if you have a Callaway's near you, then you know it's just a wonderful, wonderful garden center. And today they are having a garden talk. And the topic of today's garden talk has especially piqued my interest because it is all about proven winners, best of the best for Texas. So they are revealing their top 10 plants that they believe will grow the best here in Texas. If you are not from Texas, or if you are from Texas, then you know or don't know that here in Texas, we have some of the most extreme growing conditions, I believe, in the United States. We get from one extreme to the other in one growing season. So we are very, 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 very hot. We get up to 110 degrees here in North Texas, probably maybe even hotter down in South Texas. But on top of that, we are extremely humid. And so sometimes with that humidity factor, it just feels like it's in 120 degree weather. Now, the plants don't feel the humidity factor, but they are affected by humidity and extreme humidity and heat for sure. Plants go through stress just when they're in 85 degree weather. So when we get up to 110, that is extreme stress. So we have to make sure that we are choosing plants that can really tolerate that kind of heat and that kind of humidity. But also here in North Texas, we can get extremely cold as well. So I am in zone 8A. We can get down to, I believe it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit or maybe even 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And then, South Texas doesn't quite get as cold, but we go from one extreme to the other, and it's just a very difficult thing to find plants that do well here in Texas. And to hear the proven winners best of the best here in Texas, I am just extremely intrigued. I hope that I learned something today, and I hope that you'll join in and learn something too. Here we are. I'm so excited.
All about proven winners, annuals, shrubs, and then a couple of perennials as well. My name's Rayleigh. I'm the store manager here. I've been with the company for 3 years on the 7th, so that's exciting.
Yay.
Thank you. I also have a degree in horticulture, certification for naturalistic horticulture and greenhouse management, and then I'm also certified master certified nursery professional through the Texas Nursery and Landscape Association. So I know a little bit because I've seen a little bit and I've done a little bit. So why proven winners? Proven winners are excellent. They're in trials gardens all over the nation. One of them is the Dallas Arboretum. So if you're an Arboretum member, I highly suggest you go out there and look at their proven winner trials gardens. They're easy to grow and care for. They bloom. They have a very long lasting bloom season. They're bright and colorful. They're healthy and vigorous. And like I said, they're trialed and tested. So we're just going to talk about a few of my favorites today, starting with some full sun annuals. This flower here, which is common name for it is Blue Days, a bulbous. This guy is super, super cool. It's going to be more of a trailing kind of plant, and if you notice, it has a blue flower, which is actually pretty rare in nature. There's only a few flowers that actually bloom blue. So it has a really pretty disc-shaped flower that makes it easier for bees or butterflies to go over and visit to it, and then it has a trailing growth habit. Drought tolerant once established, so it's great for like at the very edge of your garden to do like a little border, so you have something spilling off of the side, or if you prefer to have it in a hanging basket, it'll grow and it'll spill off the side for you too. And it blooms all summer long up until first frost, extremely heat and drought tolerant once established. So that's the specific variety name is Blew My Mind E. bulbous. So, Blue Days. The next one is another Texas favorite. We even have some native varieties just in nature, but it is the luscious lantana. This is a Golden Gate variety. Lantana is an excellent pollinator. You have all of these little composite kind of flowers that are trumpet shaped, but they're all bunched together. So if you have a butterfly or a bee in your garden, they just go to one spot and they can feed multiple times on the same flower. Like I said, some varieties of lantana are native to Texas. Any that are yellow or more yellow tend to be more of a tender perennial. This variety in particular is going to be about 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide, so it's more of a bushy variety versus like the trailing lantana. But again, full sun, drought tolerant once established. It's also a very low maintenance plant. Another one, and tender perennial, we sell it as annual, but you can get it to come back. I have it in my garden right now too. One of my actual favorites that isn't on the list is Verbena. There's a homestead variety that's native to Texas. I think these are native vars or native cultivars, so not the native plant, but one that's been taken from the native plant and has been bred to be a more long-lasting, prettier, showier flower. Same thing as the lantana, super heat and drought tolerant once established. It's pretty low maintenance. It usually just drops its own spin flowers and then continues making more on the same stem, so you don't necessarily have to cut it back. This is going to be more full 2-part sun, so if you have a space where you get morning sun only and then afternoon shade, this will work there for you. Or if you have the opposite of that, morning shade, afternoon sun, this will also work for you. So it's kind of I love Verbena. It has the same kind of flower shape as the lantana, except it has much longer kind of tubes here. So it's great for pollinators. They can visit one flower that's blooming and feed multiple times. And it's also a tender perennial. I have had my Verbena come back for 3 years in a row, but I also mulch heavily, like I'd say probably like 2 inches of mulch, and then I cross cloth on top of that, but I am able to get mine to come back. And they also, this is the Superbenia Cobalt. So it's like a purple flower. And then we have another new variety, which I'm super excited about because it's so cute. It's the Cherry Blast. So you have these like little pink flowers here, and then you also have a variegated flower. So that's super neat and very unique kind of plant. Usually most flowers are just one color. So if you want to be the talk of your neighborhood, get a variegated flower. Lobelia. So this is also super exciting. I say that about every plant, but I'm easily excitable. These are new varieties of lobelia. Usually we grow lobelia as like a cool season annual, so kind of right there with your alyssum and your pansies and your violas and your dianthus. But these lobelias have been bred to withstand our summers. So they are full to part sun. I would probably lean more on the part sun part of that tag. So morning sun only and then afternoon shade, but they're going to be more heat and drought tolerant once established. And they come in this really pretty blue color or in more of a deeper kind of purple. And these guys I also believe are going to be a little bit more bushy. Yeah, so about 6 to 12 inches tall and wide. They also are going to spill for you. So about 1 foot tall, 1 foot wide. If you have this in a hanging basket and you wanted something to spill off the side, this would be a good filler for that. And also in the compostable pots, so environmentally friendly. Another good one for spillers is going to be Scaevola. The common name for this is fanflower. This is whirlwind blue Scaevola. And the tag says full sun. I haven't personally grown this in full sun. I've only seen it in more part sun conditions, but it is going to be a more heat and drought tolerant Scaevola. This is going to creep. It's more of a low growing plant, so if you have it in a hanging basket or as a border, it'll bloom for you all summer long, and it gets its name because the little flowers on there are kind of like a little fan you use to fan yourself. So sandflower. Super, super cute. And the last annual I want to talk, or perennial, annual, proven winter I want to talk about is, okay, I lied, I have two more before we get to the shrub. This is a new variety of salvia. It's called rocket fuchsia. If you like hummingbirds, birds, bees, butterflies in your garden, this is so great. It has, so like it blooms from the bottom of the spike upwards, and then you have this very kind of trumpet-shaped, tubular kind of flower. So as it blooms and self kind of deadheads, it'll just continue blooming up the spike, and then once it blooms from the top, if you just cut it back, you'll have another bloom come out from the side. So super, super cute. It gets a little bit taller, 24 to 36 inches, so about 2-3 feet tall and wide. Blooms all summer long. Super, super heat tolerant. Salvia gregii is actually a native variety that we also carry, and this is going to be more of like a kind of native cultivar. So not necessarily native, but still a proven winner. Thanks for that. And then this variety of salvia can do full to partial sun. I have seen these in more shady conditions, and they will bloom for you. I just will say that they need at least, I'd say probably like four hours of direct sun to continuously bloom. The thing about growing like full sun plants in shade is that there's not a fertilizer that makes up for lack of sun. So as long as it's getting at least 4 hours of direct sun, it should, bloom and attract all sorts of friends to your garden. And then the last annual perennial I want to talk about is Nepta, catmint. So if you have cats, they will be very attracted to this. The one thing I will say about anything in the mint family is that if you plant this in the ground, you will have it forever. Forever. I planted catmint in the ground once, and I literally had to dig up every single raised bed brick and relocate it because I could not, you can't pull it up, you can't spray it, you can't kill this. Like, I will actually guarantee that you cannot kill this. It is very hard to do. But the cool thing about catmint is that it also is a great pollinator. You get all these little purple flowers on there that are also a little bit trumpet shaped, so it's great for bees. And then as you pet the plant, you release those oils into the air, which attracts our feline friends. And it also repels mosquitoes and other insects. So any plant that has a really high kind of oil content in the leaves, rosemary, lavender, catmint, citronella, onion chives even, etc. The more you pet them, the more oil gets released into the air, and the better they are at deterring mosquitoes and other kind of pests. It also is going to be more of a trailer, so you can kind of see in the pot it just wants to spread out. So this in a hanging basket would be great, or I would just dedicate a container for it and plant it in a container so that it remains contained. If you have an area, if you have loads and loads of acres that you don't mind planting this in the ground, I'd probably do it in the back. So when it does spread, you have a really nice purple looking carpet, and it's also far enough away from your vegetables and other things that you're tending to more frequently. But that's just my 2 cents.
How much sun?
This is full 2-part sun. So it can do sun all day long. I would say it needs at least 6 hours of sun. It can survive in 4 hours of sun, but it's not going to bloom as frequently. And then, of course, I keep saying, this is the last one. It's not. Proven Winners also came out with all of these pre-made hanging baskets, which are super, super pretty. This one has some double begonias in it, some green sweet potato vine, and then a really cool kind of trailing coleus. So this is going to be more of a shade to part sun hanging basket situation. We also have more, and also another cool thing, I just think everything is so cool. Another cool thing about these Proven Winner hanging baskets is that, let's say I didn't want this to hang in a basket, they have these little clips on the side that you can, it's a lot easier than the EcoPod. They have these little clips on the side that you can just take the hanging part off. And then if you have like a 10-inch container or a larger container, you just want some instant color in, just plop that in there. Done. Beautiful. Easy peasy. But yeah, the thing with hanging baskets though, and any kind of container made plant, is that when they come from the grower, they're coming from a place that has their fertilizer applicator's license. We do not here. So the more you water, the more anything in a container, the more fertilizer and nutrients is going to leach out of that soil, which is why it's important to fertilize if you want the best performance from any kind of container or hanging basket plant. But now I want to get into the shrubs, which are, again, one of my favorites. This new variety, limelight hydrangeas have been super, super, super popular, and now Proven Winners has come out with a little lime hydrangea, which is going to be a little bit more dwarf than the limelight. This guy only gets about 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. The thing about growing hydrangeas in Texas is you need to amend the soil with something, some way. So we have really clay, alkaline soil here. Hydrangeas in nature like more of a sandy, loamy, acid soil. So the way that we can kind of replicate that to get them to do well in our gardens is, one, either plant it in a container so you can more easily manipulate the pH of your soil, and then use an acid-forming fertilizer. The Callaway's flowering shrub food, this guy here in the purple, that's going to be an acid-forming fertilizer. If you prefer organic, we also have Azalea Tone by Epsoma, which is great for camellias, hydrangeas, azaleas, gardenias, all of your acid-loving plants. So that's one way to do it. If you're planting this in the ground, I would use a soil acidifier and then the tree and shrub or the flower bed mix. Both of those are excellent at breaking up some of that clay, so they improve drainage. They also add nutrients into the soil. It kind of aerates the soil a little bit, so if it does rain a whole bunch, these guys aren't getting their roots waterlogged. Hydrangeas also prefer to grow in the shade. I would not expose these to any kind of western sun or they will burn. And you'll tell that they're burning and suffering because you'll get, like plants get kind of a sunburn too. You'll see like a kind of blistering pattern that's going to be on the most top part or the most west side of your plant. And then all of the leaves under it will be beautiful and green. And that's because the ones that are getting crispy are shading the ones underneath. So morning sun only, nothing past 11. In the heat of the summer, you're going to have to watch these a little bit more. They can do, like, in the spring, these can do full sun. That's okay because it's only like 70 degrees outside. But in the summertime, when we're constantly over 95 degrees, these will need a break from the heat or from the sun, one or the other. And these are pinnacle hydrangeas, meaning they get the great big kind of cone shape hydrangea bloom, not like any of the garden hydrangeas I have over there where it's more of a circle. So it starts out, I believe, green and then matures to a white, and then as it ages it kind of gets a little pinkish tone to it. But they're super cool. They are perennial, so that's the little lime hydrangea. Another cool one that we have is the Pugster Blue Buddleia, however you want to say it. This guy here, this is an amethyst, I think. Yeah, Pugster amethyst. It's a dwarf butterfly bush. I want to say it only gets like 2 to 3 feet tall. And then these guys do benefit from a little deadheading. And how you deadhead these is, this guy obviously is already bloomed out. So I would just take my pruners and go to the next set of leaves. Boom. And now, I don't know if you can see that, but there's this little guy and that little guy. So it's going to have 2 new blooms that come out of the sides. These guys are a great pollinator. They are a little invasive. So just know that. This spirea is going to be a little bit more showy than the bridal wreath spirea. You get this suit. This is the double plate doozy. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. This is the double plate doozy spirea. You see that flower? It's like kind of funky and furry looking. Super, super cute. These especially planted in like a mass planting or border against your house. They make really striking color. And then there's the cotton candy spirea that's outside that in the wintertime it turns like a really crazy red, and then the new growth on it is like more of a yellowy color, so it kind of looks like cotton candy. But yeah, this guy is super, super cute. I just can't get over how cute that flower is. Like, I don't know if y'all can see it. Feel free to come up to the little display bench at the end, but it has these little, like the pistil and stamen are outside of the flower, so it's one, really easy for pollinators to find and feed, and two, it gives it like this kind of furry effect, which is a really cool texture and pretty unique for a garden to have more of a furry kind of texture out there. And right now it's just completely loaded in buds, and once it pops, it's just going to be like big and incredibly striking. But this guy, I want to say gets 2 to 3. Yep. Ooh, I know my stuff. This guy gets 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, and it's a deciduous shrub. So that means it's going to drop all of its leaves in the winter. But you can cut it back in the winter. I'm pretty sure spirea blooms off of new growth. So when you cut it back in the winter, just cut it back by a third. You don't want to send the plant into shock or anything. But cut it back by a third, mulch it really well. So yeah, cut it back by a third, you'll get new blooms. It's deciduous. It's pretty easy shrub other than that. Oh, it's going to be, I want to say it's full sun. I'd say these are full sun plants. As long as they're being watered adequately, they should bloom for you and last all summer long. This is Althea. This is the purple pillar Althea, and these guys go crazy. This variety in particular gets 10 to 16 feet tall and 4 to 6 feet wide. So it is a big old shrub tree situation. It doesn't really know what it wants to be. I'd say it's like a flowering shrub or a small understory kind of tree. But Altheas are super pretty. They're also known as Rose of Sharon, and they're in the same family as Hibiscus, so you get that same kind of big old hibiscus-esque flower. These are another deciduous shrub. So in the winter, they're going to drop their leaves, but you don't have to cut them back. New growth and flowers come off of old wood. These are rated for full to partial sun. However, I'm going to be honest with you. In August, when we are in the dog days of summer, these guys could stand a break from western sun. Will it survive? Yes, but around midday, 3 o'clock to be exact, it's like clockwork. 3 o'clock, they tend to wilt. And then you'll see it and you'll be like, oh my God, I need to water. And you go out there and you water it and you notice it doesn't perk back up. It's nothing you're doing or not doing. It's just the heat kind of stresses these guys out. It won't die. It's okay. If you want to water it, you can water it. If you notice that after you plant it and you water it and we're in August, and you're like, well, Rayleigh, I've been watering it at 3 p.m. every day, and now it's starting to turn yellow from the bottom up, well, that's because it's overwatered. So just let it be dramatic. You know, you always go out there and check, you know, stick your finger in the dirt. If it comes out clean, you know, you need to water. If it comes out and you got mud on your finger, you know, the soil's wet, you don't need to water it. But just let them be a little stressed out, and then in the fall when we finally cool off again, you'll have big old plumes of flowers again. You're like, well, Rayleigh, I love the Rose of Sharon, but I don't have 10 to 16 feet for this to grow. I would recommend either the Little Kim variety or one of the, I think it's blueberry smoothie varieties. The smoothies usually say 6 to 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide, and then the Little Kim variety is a dwarf. I just don't have it in stock right now. But the Little Kim variety is either red or white with a pink or a darker center, and then they get, I think, 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. So just some other options for your Althea if you are in a space that's spatially challenged. And then these aren't on your handout, but I like talking about plants, so we're going to talk about them anyway. This is the proven winner, summerific, very awesome perennial hibiscus. Perennial hibiscus is such, like, it's just such a popular plant. I can't really keep them in store when we do get them in. They just sell. They sell. The perennial hibiscus is kind of like a regular hibiscus, except it comes back year after year. And you can even see in the planter where it was cut back from the year prior. I didn't do that, the growers did. But as you can see here, you do cut it back pretty significantly in the winter, but new growth comes off of that crown. These are super pretty. I wish it was blooming now, but they get massive, massive, massive flowers on them. I think last year or 2 or 3 years ago, Proven Winter did like the dinner plate perennial hibiscus, and I would say these are either like the new age or like a really closely related cultivar of those. But the flowers on there are like literally massive. And if you plant these like in like the front of your flower bed or like as a second kind of layer, they get like 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. So next to a salvia or something like that. In the summertime when they're blooming, it would just be like flower, 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 flower. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. They're also heat and drought tolerant once established. They can do full sun all day long. It's kind of a similar situation at the Althea. At 3 p.m. in August, it might look a little sad. Just go out and check it. If it doesn't need water, don't water it. You don't want to overwater these. But as the sun sets, it'll perk back up and life will be good as new. The last Proven Winter I'd like to talk about is the tropical hibiscus. This guy, if you have a full sun condition, and I'm talking from rise to sunset, this guy is a Proven Winner. As long as you're keeping these hibiscus watered, they will bloom and bloom and bloom and bloom for you all summer long, and you can kind of tell that this guy's already doing it. It is just absolutely covered in flower buds. So it's not going to be as showy, you know, not a huge kind of bloom, but if you get enough on there, I'd say it's pretty showy. And these are super great for pollinators as well. They make it really easy for like birds, bees, and butterflies to feed. The pistil and stamen and all of the pollen is located outside of the flower. So you'll see all sorts of garden visitors on those. Yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
Okay, so I am home from Calloway's. I had a wonderful time. I met Rayleigh, the manager that you saw in the video that gave her garden talk. She did a great job. Thank you so much, Rayleigh, for having me and allowing me to film today. And I hope that all of you learned all kinds of information. So those are the Proven Winners, best of the best for Texas. I believe that that's a Proven Winners list that was sent to the Callaways, but we definitely had extras that were thrown in there. There were 13 plants that were mentioned there today, not just 10. So there were some extras, which was really, really awesome. And I agree with that list. I think all of those are pretty awesome for Texas, and they're built for our Texas heat and all of our extreme conditions as well. And you guys, I got swag. So I didn't know there was all these free things at these garden talks. So I'll be going to more of those. But I got a Proven Winners like scarf or handkerchief. I think that would look so cute, like if you have a side table or something like that on your patio. But even just wearing it as a little handkerchief is so, so cute. And then I got a shirt, a Proven Winners shirt. I am so excited. I think it's super cute. I love this color. And then look, what a beautiful back. I love butterflies, you guys. And so this is like a shirt that I would spend money for. I really would buy this shirt on my own. And I got it for free. I'm so excited. So thank you, Proven Winners, for that. And then of course Callaway's gave us a $10 off coupon for 50. Oftentimes if you look, they'll have coupons for the whole month that where you, if you pull it up, give it to the cashier, it's $10 off a purchase of 50, but they had a special one for us that was today only. And they also had 20% off all of their Proven Winners plants today. So I definitely did some Proven Winners shopping. And the plant that, one of the plants that I got was Rockin' Fuchsia Salvia. So this is a plant that Janie talked about last week in her garden talk at Green Acres. And then also they talked specifically about this plant today at Callaway. So I thought, I haven't grown this plant. I need to grow this plant. I need to see how well it does. And I actually have a spot for it, believe it or not. I forgot that I have dragons growing in kind of the back row of my front garden, and I'm about to take those out, so that creates some room. So I have room for 2 of these. They are just so beautiful. They're not quite open yet, but I love the dark green foliage here, and it's just, it has buds everywhere, you guys, like even the little guys. There's little buds even underneath these big ones that haven't really even opened yet. So I'm really excited. I'll have 2 of these in my front garden, and we'll see how they do this year. I'm sure they will do fabulous. And then another Proven Winners plant was their fanflower or scavola. I believe this is the Star Diva. You guys can correct me if I am wrong. I didn't get the little plant insert in here, so but I'm pretty familiar with this. This is, I'm pretty sure, Star Diva Pink, but I've been wanting to grow Proven Winners variety of scavola because I've bought regular scavola and it has just performed amazingly in my garden. So I am sure the Proven Winners variety will do even better, and it's pink, so it's kind of the new color scheme now that I have added my annual plants to my front garden. My front garden color scheme is now kind of pinks and purples. I do have red coneflower. I have 2 of those in the back, so there'll be a little bit of red there, which I think is totally fine. But pinks and purples is the majority of the color. The Rockin' Fuchsia will do perfect. The Star Diva is going to go in a container that's next to the front garden, and also in that container, sorry y'all, it's not Proven Winners, but Proven Winners, if you guys had a Kufia that was pink and purple like this one, I would have bought it today. But this, I am growing a Kufia in my backyard already. It's called Bat Face Kufia, and it is red and dark purple, and it's already attracting hummingbirds. So it's just fabulous, and I'm just loving how it's doing. So this is kind of a different growth habit, a little bit different than the Kufia I'm growing, and I really wanted to try it. And it's pink and purple, and it's gonna go in a container that's right next to my front garden. So I'm really excited about that. I'm so happy to have gone to Calloway's and gotten those free giveaways, and to meet Rayleigh, the manager of Calloway's. It was wonderful to meet you. And then I also met Cindy. Hi, Cindy, if you're watching. She was just a lady that I met today. You ever meet those kind of ladies and talking about all of the flowers and things? And we got to talking, and I introduced myself, and she's like, hey, I know you. I watch your YouTube channel. So it was wonderful to meet her, and it was just a wonderful day. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. If you like what you saw today, I have so much more. I do monthly garden tours and all kinds of plant videos for us here in Texas about plants that do well in our gardens. And so I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel so that you can see more. It helps me so very much when you do that. And comment down below. Let me know, do you agree with the list of the 13 plants of Proven Winners top best plants for Texas, or do you have more that you would add to that list? I would love to know that, so please comment down below. And I thank you all so much for watching today. I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day and a beautiful day. Bye-bye, everybody.